Let's have a look at measures now. And for this, I want to get started with some very basic and very common functions. Sum and average. We used the sum function already here in this module. If you remember back, we wanted to calculate the sum of our sales, and this returned, well, in kind of a wrong value, as we learned that sum is a function which sums up all the values inside of a specific column. Now, for this, I want to go to our fact population table now, and here I want to go to the population column, because you could say that you want to have a quick method, a quick way to quickly calculate the sum of the population. For this, you could of course use a calculated column. We know how this works now. We can go to the table tools and now create a new column. And now we could call this total population here. And now I could say that I calculate the sum, write this like this, and now refer to my population table here and press enter. And now you know what's going to happen. We get the total sum of the entire population column. And that's not what we want. So let's delete this column by right-clicking onto it and deleting it. Yes. And let's now see what happens if I apply the same formula by using a measure. The measure can be found here in the table tools, there the new measure part. The quick measure comes with some predefined calculations. We'll explore that a bit later. Let's now learn the basics first. So we select new measure. Here we could call this total population again. And now I will again use the same formula, so the sum. And now I will refer to my population column. So same logic we had before. But if you press enter now, you see two interesting things. The first interesting thing is that, as explained on the slide earlier, we didn't add a new column here. Nothing changed in the table. But if you look into the right part, into our fields column, you see that inside the fact population table, we now have this total population measure. And very important, the measure is indicated by this calculator symbol. So with that, you can easily identify whether you have any measures in your table. The question now is, how does this help? Well, to be honest, at the moment it doesn't. Therefore, let's go to the report view now, and let's create a new page in the report. Now, we will dive deeper into the report view in the next module. For the moment, it's just important to understand that we have this page in the report, so page 1 down here with our visual. And if we click onto this plus symbol, we can create a second page. The first one is not lost, of course. We can switch between these pages. As I said, more about that later throughout the course. So here we have the two pages, and to be more precise here, we could double click the first one and call it relationships, because this is what was covered on this page. And here we can say we have a look at measures. So enough of the report view now. Let's create a quick visualization, maybe again our good old stacked column chart, and let's place it right here maybe. And now in this chart, I want to visualize my measure. And of course I can find the measure here in the fields column, as I said, indicated by this calculator. And if I now simply take it and add it as the value field, well, then you get the information visualized. Not a very impressive chart, to be honest. And if you hover over it, you can see that this is exactly the value that we had when we used the calculated column earlier, which retrieved values for each row. And this is now the result of the total population for all the countries, for all the years, for all the age groups that we have in our data. So that's the core idea of the measure, a field and an underlying calculation you define, and which you can then use in your visual to display or to visualize a specific type of information. Let's have a look at another basic formula here. As I said, we have sum, and we also have the average function. For this, we can again go to our table tools, go to new measure, and now call this measure maybe average population to be in line with our naming conventions here. And now I use the average function, so this one here, and you can see the description again. We talked about this already. So it returns the average of all the numbers in a column. So again, if we take this formula and enter our population column here, then you get the average of the entire population in this column. If we hit enter, we again see we didn't add a new column, but we can find the measure over here. Let's go back to report view once again. And let's now unselect our current visual. And now again, go to the visualizations column here. And again, create that stacked column chart. Doesn't look too shabby here, I think. So let's maybe make this a bit smaller like this. And now we again take our Now we again take our measure and add it as the value field. And now we visualized our average population indicated by this value here. Now, these were some very basic measures, of course, just to get an idea of the general concepts. Let's have a closer look at some a bit more advanced measures in the next lecture now.